Good day. I just want to remind you how good our God is, how great He is, how amazing He is. While I was busy in my quiet time, the Lord reminded me of things that I've watched through this week on YouTube. And because in the mornings I wake up and write everything down before I start reading my scriptures, what I'm grateful for and all those little things that comes to mind. And while I was writing, it was so amazing that it came to mind that God woke us up in and through His love and grace. And I realize that He is love. And the grace is that drives Him to wake us up in the mornings. Because of His grace, we have been woken up this morning. And we are so blessed to know a God that is love and grace simultaneously. And then my mind went through what I've looked at this week. And it's so amazing, it was all about animals that all called out to be helped. They needed the people's help. They came to the people. And then other times it was how people came off on an animal, while they were walking, they see this animal in distress. And then they help the animals. And it's some animals you can help free-handedly, and they're willing to come to you, and as you help them, they become more peaceful. And then others are scared and they just want to attack you, but they don't realize you want to help them. And then others, you must use some gear to keep yourself safe and the animal safe, so at the end that you can help them. And as I go through it, it's as if the Lord get my mind back to the human race. And that's exactly how we're supposed to help one another. But our help is not out of ourselves, but the things that we can do, the gear that we need to help one another. For instance, prayer. Sometimes you pray for someone, and then the next moment you hear everything is fine in their life. The other times you must fasting and praying with the full armor on, to stand in the gap for someone else, and they go through difficult times and you are there for them, support them, and then things turn out to be fine. Sometimes it doesn't, because we don't know the will of God, because sometimes He allows things to happen in your life because He wants you to grow closer to Him. Sometimes He uses you to let someone else grow closer to Him. And then there's also the gear that we need with having on the full armor. That full armor that this is a battle while you're praying. And then sometimes you just go to town and the Lord lays in your heart, give someone a bread, or give them a hug, or when you go and shop and suddenly you have this feeling, I must buy this tin of food or whatever, and you don't know why, and when you go out, it's as if you know that you must give it to someone in need. Maybe when you get in the car, maybe at the robot. So there's so many means that we can help other people. But at the end, it's not out of ourselves. It's because He blessed us. He gave us the gear And we must be willing to use that gear. And that was like so wow. And I realized, like, when I read my 2 verses for the day, it was like exactly being a part of what I experienced while I was talking to the Lord this morning. And I just want to share some verses with you, what came to mind. And then I want to share you the verses that I got. The verses that I got was Ephesians 2 verse 8 and 9. And then Romans 5 verse 6 to 11. And that actually includes everything if you go and read it. And then the 2 verses of the morning was John 17 verse 18 and Psalm 116 verse 1 and 2. So I'm going to read the part that was with John 17 verse 18. God uses people. God uses people to perform His work. He does not send angels. Angels weep over it. But God does not use angels to accomplish His purposes. He uses burdened, broken-hearted, weeping men and women. That was the words of David Wilkerson. And John 17 verse 18 says, as you sent me into the world, I have sent them into the world. And so does Jesus send us. And He said, go and make disciples. And go and do the works that I have done. I will bless you wherever you go. I will give you the power and the authority over Satan. Luke 10 verse 19. That nothing will harm us because He is with us, because we are willing to say, like Jeremiah said, Lord, here am I, send me. So if we are just willing to say, Lord, here am I, use me, then He can use us in so many different ways. And then Psalm 116 verse 1 and 2 is like, he declares that he loves the Lord. And he knows when he prays, the Lord will listen. When I call, He will hear me. And that was so amazing. Like, when I read it, it was like some of us are so lazy to bend. Because we all have this aches and pains, and sometimes you don't want to do anything. We're just happy where we are, in our comfort zone. We do not want to get out of our comfort zones. And then, like they say, He doesn't ask us that we must stretch too far. He just wants to use us. We must look for a way to help someone who's in need. Give him a hug or speak to them with a warmth, a heart full of gratitude, a heart that cares. That's the exercise that He wants us to do for the day. And then, like, we will realize it's not too bad to bend. Because it's easier to bend than to broke. It's nicer to bend than to broke something. Because you can bend something in shape, but when you break it, it's difficult to fix that again. And that's why God doesn't want to bend us. Broke us, He wants to bend us. And He wants to listen to our heart. And He wants us to have a heart that is willing to bend and to be there for someone else's care and desire and dreams. And that's why, go out today and bend your heart a little bit and let God use you to make a difference in someone else's life.